Hey, good evening. We're live from the streets of Dolby City, and I'm Dylan Dolby, and behind me is the grand marquee of the Orpheum Cinema, hosting the opening night of the highly anticipated Thomas Dimopoulos Film Festival. The energy here tonight's huge. So I'm just going to take a little walk around, I'm going to interview people about their expectations tonight. Hey, Hi, how are you? I'm just wondering, you're the first here in line for this premiere of this new Dimopoulos film. What are your expectations tonight?
Humid soft windshields, fluttering of mosaic teardrops against the eternal glass. Your face of silver delight, dim purple smoke in the world's most beautiful ashtray.
Oh, you're a poet. That's awesome. I love it. You're visualizing the cinematic texture already. I see. That's cool, man. Hey, cheers. I hope you enjoy the film.
Cut the word lines. Cut the word images. Smash the control machines. Umberto Babastida.
These rules are quite slim because most of my first
Hey, how are you doing? Hey, you're wearing a dress made entirely of old celluloid film strips. What does Thomas Dimopoulos, what does his work mean to you personally? Like, how has it shaped your worldview?
Energy forms interlocking through the invisible staircase of shape-shifting memory.
Right.
Sweet orange tears of the world.
Orange tears, that's heavy stuff. I'm guessing you're making a reference from one of his earlier films, maybe. Hey, thank you. Enjoy the film.
Sky is blue, clouds are grey, blood in the streets, dying days.
I'm going to go move over closer to the velvet rope. Hey, dude, how are you? Yeah, in the tuxedo. Hey, Thomas Dimopoulos is known for his, lo-fi budget DIY sort of guerrilla style filmmaking and storytelling. Do you think possibly this alienates mainstream audiences?
Wizard's invitation of the complete liquid self. Dandelion whimpering alone in a Diet Coke bottle.
Are you trying to say that you got to surrender yourself to truly understand the world of Dimopoulos, and it stands amongst the crowd like a dandelion whimpering alone in a dyed Coke bottle?
Umberto Babastida. This makes no sense. This is only existing in my mind. My mind is where the mice play.
What is your favourite Dimopoulos recurring motif?
Frog death, a never-ending hallway of your subconscious. Spiral salami speaks in tongues conveying what you never knew.
Can you describe the moment you first realised that the spiral salami was speaking and what it revealed about the never-ending hallway of your subconsciousness that you weren't ready to hear?
He was killed in his own dream. But the mountain died crumbling. Naked people bursting with relief over turtleneck oozes of life.
Of course. So the salami wasn't just speaking in tongues, it was translating the suffocation. So who dressed the mountain before it died?
These are the frightening witches into which the beautiful little girls of the ballet have been transformed.
Oh, hi, how are you? That's a really good point. Okay, and the music they're dancing to now, is it still playing in the hallway? Or did it disappear with the mountain?
Glass is see-through. Stones are cracking. Rainbow slaughterhouse dancing in yesterday's repugnance.
So, if the glass is see-through and you watched it happen, who was dancing inside the slaughterhouse and who was left sweeping up the rainbow?
The guilt sweat rolls down meat. Pink neck, rolling dreams of Tuesday's tunnel. Autonomous sparkle amongst the golden garbage bins of the dreary future. Warm milk illuminated the spiral staircase of her fears.
Okay, so the hallway didn't end. It just turned into a staircase. Tell me about the light at the top. Is it the warm milk, or is it something waiting by the golden garbage bins? No, wait, this whole thing makes no sense. This is only existing in my mind. I need to get out of here. I need to go inside.
Sky is blue, clouds are grey, blood in the streets, dying days.
My mind is where the mice play.
Oh, relief. I'm inside the theatre, and apparently Thomas said he'd saved me a seat next to him for his film. Let's see if I can see him. Thomas! How are you? Right. Hey, my first question. Can you tell me, what is the extremist film movement?
The extremist film movement is an idea that was started by the underground filmmaker Nick Zed in his 2013 manifesto entitled The Extremist Manifesto. And the essential idea of this manifesto and this movement is that art should inherently be used to shock and to make people question the reality around them. Nick Zed states that the profane with the passage of time becomes sacred, that today's smut is tomorrow's fine art, and that we can look at history and we can see that what was once considered trash is now seen by the curatorial elite as very high art. And the idea essentially is that art should be made in accordance with one's individual values. And an important part of the extremist movement is the negation of what Nick Zed calls the fraudulent value systems that we find within contemporary corporatized art and the contemporary corporatized art world. So the extremist film movement is just a very loose definition of people making films independently, artistically, and they are using these certain set of ideologies as a way to make their work so that other people can start to think for themselves. And essentially Nick talks about the unification of opposites in the manifesto as well, that's the basis of it. So to show different viewpoints, to show different ideas. And that's the essential basis of what the extremist film movement is. And I'm actually the official archivist of the work of Nick Zed, and I'm working very closely with his wife, or his widow now. He unfortunately passed away in 2022, but I'm working very closely with his widow, Monica Casanova, and we're looking to do some things to more perpetuate the extremist movement.
You have been mentioned as, and I quote, an extremely fantastic way to say hello to the new extremist underground film era. What differentiates the old extremist underground film era from the new one?
The main differentiation between the old extremist film era and the new extremist film era is the culture around us, the culture in which we find ourselves. And essentially with my work, I am keeping the ethos and the essence of the old transgressive work, yet I am showing it in modern ways, and I'm relating it to the modern world we live in. So in my films, for instance, films such as Flower Rat, where I delve into the child labor perpetuated by major corporations in America, and in Crushed Cats, where I very explicitly tie the modern Trumpian times we find ourselves with Nazi Germany. So I'm keeping the essence, and yet I am showing it in new ways, dealing with the political landscape which we find ourselves. And essentially as well, though, I would say that between the new and the old work, there's not too much of a great difference besides looking at the culture, because the ideas are all still the same, and it's making the films yourself, making the art yourself, shooting in the streets, making them cheap, lo-fi, you could call it. And that's essentially the main differentiation, is just the landscape which we live. And some of my work, I'm more explicitly political in others. For instance, the film I'm doing right now is called Santa Claus Will Save Us from Our Sins. And it doesn't explicitly deal with political issues, but it's implicitly looking at religion as a belief system, as a value system. And we can use these kinds of works as insurgent forces. So that's the main idea, with how it's the same or how it's different to the extremist film movement. But the extremist film movement will never stop as long as people keep making films, because somebody somewhere will be shooting things on their iPhone that are in accordance with the values, whether they know it or not. And all my films are political in the sense that existence is political. So I'd like to make that clear as well, that even some of my films, which may on the surface look like comedies, they're once you dig deeper, I'd hope that there's some more potentially disturbing or some darker aspects of the human psyche found within them. And existence is itself political, because who determines which individuals have rights? Who determines who is allowed to exist freely? And these are questions which the films I do personally are concerned with.
Hello? What? Been waiting for this. I thought you'd never ask, but I'll show you one day. Make sure. Pay for what you've done. What? Pay for what you've done. What? Why did he do that?
You just mentioned how all your films are political, as existence is political, because, as you said, who determines which individuals have rights? Who determines who is allowed to exist freely? And I thought that's a really interesting question. So when you look at the world today, who do you think is currently holding the pen that writes those rules? Is it institutions, cultural norms, or have we internalized these sort of gatekeepers ourselves?
Well, yeah, that's a really thought-provoking question that I think is something which everybody should be actively thinking about. And essentially, I believe it to be a mixture, as the censorship one faces in the face of, you could call many different things, whether it be the bourgeois, whether it be the elites, whether it be the gatekeepers of consensus reality, which is a term that Nick Zed used to say, and I like that term. Society is built up on these principles and on these rules and on these methods of control. And yet that obviously funnels down into what you were talking about, of the cultural norms, and that we've internalized this sort of gatekeeping ourselves. It is the censorship of the self, which is also important, and these are themes which very obviously are talked about in my work. The idea of the censorship of the self, and the idea that prison is the mind, that the nature of reality is the mind, and the mind is the penitentiary, is an idea which I explicitly talk about in my film Crushed Cats. And that idea comes from Charles Manson. In interviews, he would claim that he was never in prison, he's not in prison, and that prison only exists in the mind, that everybody is their own prison. We're all our own wardens, and we each do our own time. And this prison, as you're saying, too, acts as a form of internalized gatekeeping and internalized censorship as well. So that's why in the films, Miss Rabbit and the Devil, for instance, I flashed the words on screen, break free. And in Pop Goes the Weasel, I have a continuous title card that states, every obsession is a good obsession.
I've noticed in many of your films that you use a lot of found footage, often from quite a long time ago, and this is mixed in with your own sort of original footage. My question is this intentional in any way to sort of contextualize the politics of when the original footage was recorded, sort of like compared to how things are now? Like, since existence is politics, shouldn't the change be apparent? Or has there been a change? Or is politics consistent and now just appears different?
Yes, I'm trying to contextualize the politics regarding the time in which the original footage was recorded. And this is something that I do throughout a lot of my work, is to use old footage and to show that nothing has changed. Explicitly, I use the footage in Crushed Cats, when I compare modern day Trumpian times to Nazi Germany, and I edit footage of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis to ICE agents, and I'm trying to showcase that the underlying essence of society is that of class struggle, is that of exploitation. The exploitation I talk about in Flower Rat, when I have, again, much of the film dealing with people on the margins of society, and yet mixing that in with, the billionaire class, and then mixing that in with footage of child labor in Africa for major American corporations such as Nestle, which I talk about in Flower Rat. And through mixing this found footage, new politics with old politics, I am essentially showing that, in my mind, not enough has changed. So I will admit to it being a very pessimistic outlook. Yet that's really how I understand it, and that's the way I try to make it appear within my work.
How dare you? Make sure you're dead. Dead, you hear me? I don't know. I don't know about the whole thing. Trying to play games with me? With me, huh? Like games like Uno? I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out.
In most of your films, I've noticed the use of color saturation in many of the clips, both the your original clips that you've taken and also the historic footage. What's your intention in that?
Cinema is a visual medium, and I often find that many films, the only thing I remember about them is the visuals, and a lot of the time I don't remember plots well or characters too well, but I'll remember just certain shots of a movie, and that's what sticks with me. And I love colors. So when I use the saturation and all the weird colors, I'm trying to use this visual medium as a way to make people remember the work, to make my work more memorable.
On the show, I've had many guests over the years, and I guess with probably 80-90% of them, they're all musicians generally, but they're kind of more than musicians. They're kind of almost those kind of uber creative people. They're by far the majority of them don't just do music. They do film, they do sculpture, they do photography, they write, they do zines and comics. They're involved in multiple creative mediums. I understand that you also do a lot of music as well. What drives you to be creative?
The simple answer I have is that it's something that I have to do. I'm a very obsessive compulsive individual, and being creative and doing this kind of work is something I feel is a necessity. There is never a time period where I'm not working on a project. Whether it be, a lot of the time is taken up doing the films, but I also have an album coming out that should be out by the time this interview releases, called Beats, Ballads, and Other Oddities, which is a collection of strange, acoustic music I've done, soundscapes, a lot of electronic beat music that I like doing as well. And I'm really excited for that album to come out. And I also do work in, I make zines occasionally, and I'll do, I do, images, photography. I love the music. A lot of the time the music appears in the films as well. And it's something that I do feel is a necessity for me to do. It gives me a reason to live.
I don't believe in belief. I don't believe in belief. I don't believe in belief. I don't believe in belief.
The song Don't Believe, featuring Nick Z, you mentioned him quite a bit earlier in our interview. For those of us unfamiliar with his work, could you enlighten us a little bit?
Nick Z is the leading figure behind the cinema of transgression movement. So he made his first feature film in 1979, which was called They Eat Scum. And the entire film was shot on Super 8, which is very ambitious, and it's about the rise, fall, or the rise, the fall, and the rise of a death rock star. And there's a lot of cannibalism in it, and it's really, when it came out, it was a shocking movie. And Nick eventually penned the Cinema of Transgression Manifesto in 1984, envisioning in the world, in the art world, to take down academic snobbery in art cinema, and to propose a more transgressive and more explicitly politically charged series of works. And he became a bit of a legend in the Lower East Side, making his underground movies. He did The Bogus Man, Police State, The Wild World of Lydia Lunch, Go to Hell, Thrust in Me, and his work has been a big influence on me, and it has been for years. And then he continued throughout the 90s. In the 2000s, he did a public access TV show with the artist Reverend Jen Miller, called The Adventures of Electra Elf and Fluffer, which ran for a long time, and it's this no-budget superhero show, which is really great. And then he moved to Mexico with his wife, Monica Casanova, and that's where he penned the Extremist Manifesto, started doing the extremist movement. So I find his work, his complete do-it-yourself ethos, has resonated with me for years, and I'm very happy to be close with his family and to be his visual archivist. And I'm also grateful for the opportunity to be able to use, I use the sample of his voice in my song, which is off the new album.
Time is simultaneous. I don't believe in belief.
How is your approach to writing music different to your approach to making film?
Making music and making film is, they are pretty different processes, yet they do interconnect in some ways. Film essentially is a collaborative process for the most part, meaning that I need other people to help the vision. Usually just a couple actors to put the stuff together, and then I do the rest. I do the camera and the editing and the directing. But I need other people. It's collaborative. The music, for the most part, I do by myself. For most of it is just me on the acoustic guitar or me on the computer doing the beats. The music is in a sense more relaxing to do, actually. I feel the stakes are lower, maybe, and because I'm not known for music, I'm more known, if people know me, it's because of the movies, so I feel like the stakes for music are lower, and I find it to be just kind of relaxing. And I never had the intention of releasing an album, actually, until I ended up going through the past couple of years of materials that I had, and I realized that, wow, there's a lot of good stuff here that I've never used. I'd just make the music on the computer, spend a couple hours on a piece, and then I'll forget about it, and I won't listen to it again. And I ended up realizing that I went through everything. There's a lot of good material I liked, and, I didn't put them in movies or anything, and I thought I should really just release this album. So that's where the idea of Beats, Ballads, and Other Oddities came from. And so it's a bit of a different process for me. But a lot of the time the music I make does end up in the movies. Sometimes I'll write, music purely for the movies. A lot of the acoustic songs I write, like the Teenage Pregnant Clown song and the Playful Planet song, I'll write those for the actual film. The Texas Roadside Pig song is another example. But yeah, that's how I see it.
So where should people go if they want to listen or watch your work?
Yeah, so my work is available, all of it, throughout the internet, and I'd say that the best way to watch the movies is to find my YouTube channel, which is titled Thomas Dimopoulos Films. The work, all my new updates and everything that I've been doing is also on my website, which is thomasdmovies.crd.co, and all of that's in lowercase. That's thomasdmovies.crd.co. And I also run an Instagram page called Thomas Dimopoulos Official, and that's where you can keep up to date. That's probably where I am the most for people who want to keep up to date with what they can see about new releases, music, some behind-the-scenes stuff. And soon I'm just in the process of setting up a Bandcamp right now and seeing what I can do with the music, because that's a new world for me. As well, places to see my work. There's this great place in New York called the Millennium Film Workshop in Brooklyn, down the Lower East Side, and they've shown, I think, 4 or 5 of my films now over the past year, a little over a year, and I have a very good relationship with them, and they're a fantastic theater. So I'd say that's also a great place to get to see and meet underground filmmakers.
Hey Thomas, man, it's been nice talking to you. Yeah, this theatre's nice. I haven't been to this theatre here in Dolby City before.
Yes, Dolby City is quite the place to be. This is quite an interesting theater. Most of the places that show my work are actually very strange type places. After all, they are experimental films for experimental people. Wah-ha-ha-ha-ha. Oh, the movie's about to start. Okay.
No, like it's the seats not very comfortable. I can't seem to find my. Is your seat okay?
Well, my seat could be better, but I guess you got to expect a rundown theater when they're showing the films of Thomas Dimopoulos.
Yeah. All right. So the movie's about to start. I'm looking forward to get my popcorn. I'm ready to go. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Everybody should sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and remember, do it yourself. Thank you, Dolby. Thank you, Radio Dolby. In the Texas sun where grasslands sway, there's a sight to fill you with awe and play. Pigs roam free with a joyful stride. It's a ballet, a roadside pride. Oh, the Texas roadside pigs, they dance and sing. A symphony of oinks, a joyful ring. Underneath the sky so vast and blue, they twirl and leap, a captivating view. With With snouts up high, they snuffle the air, their curly tails a whimsical affair. They chase and frolic with hearts so light, a testament to freedom's pure delight. Oh, the Texas roadside pigs, they dance and sing, a symphony of oinks, a joyful ring. Underneath the sky so vast and blue, they twirl and leap, it's all a captivating view. As twilight falls, their dance subsides, they settle down, hunger satisfied. Beneath the stars they snooze and dream of Texas roads and freedom's gleams. Oh, the Texas roadside pigs, they dance and sing, a symphony of oinks, a joyful ring. Underneath the sky so vast and blue, they twirl and leap, a captivating view. If you're weary traveler or one in search, find solace in these playful perch, the Texas roadside pigs with their carefree ways. Bring laughter to hearts and brighten the days.